Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
So how's everybody enjoying their bye week? Everybody have a good bye?
Bye-bye.
A good bye-bye week.
Can't lose if you don't play.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's true. Can't lose if you don't play. So we're the Uncle Puckers, Tony, Dan, Bobby, and Chris, on this Saturday before the unofficial start of the second season for our New Jersey
We need a new
Devils.
start. You know, it's good.
It's a good time.
I'm looking at it positively. We need a good start.
I think that's the only way we can look at it.
This is a start, you know.
This will not be a bitching and moaning show. We will
Nope.
try and look into the positivity. We got some fun stuff planned tonight. Some, devil we got our predictions for the upcoming week.
And everyone's doing shrooms.
And we are all fucking high on shrooms like
It's an
Michael
all-star
Bublé.
game. Yeah, exactly. And he's great. I love his voice. He's amazing.
I don't think I've ever heard a song from him.
No, me neither.
Okay. I thought you were being serious.
No.
But okay, so let's go start with the All-Star game, okay? So did everybody watch the skills competition?
A little bit.
Yep.
All right. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to hear what you guys think. Being a huge proponent of opponent, I don't like skills competitions. I don't like all-star games. I really thought that this skill competition, if you're going to do it, this is the way you do it. This was actually fun. I enjoyed watching it. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it like around a good 7. Like it was. By the end of it, I was actually kind of like, "Oh shit! Is McDavid going to beat McClurg for this $1 million?"
Right.
Like this was
I know.
exciting.
I saw the highlights and I heard everybody talking about it. I'm like, I wish I watched it live. It seemed like it was a good one.
It was fun. Tony, did you watch it?
I'll be honest. I hate the All-Star game so much. I did not. Only thing I paid attention to that Jack Hughes wasn't playing. That was. I didn't even watch the skills competition. I didn't watch the game. Plus my whole household is actually ill, so we all got the funk going on this week. But I even football, man. I don't watch any of the All-Star games anymore. I kind of turned off this week in a way. I paid attention to the shit I had to pay attention to in the NHL, but All-Star wise, I didn't even watch.
Fair enough. I mean, like I don't watch any other. I don't watch the Pro Bowl. I don't watch that skills competition or anything unless there's just absolutely nothing on and I'm just bored. But I did enjoy it. Like it started out a little bit slow. I was kind of like, like
Who got $1 million, Chris? 'Cause I know they needed it.
Well, let me just say this. They're probably, over the course of the next few years, the skills competition is just going to be named the Connor McDavid Skills Competition. Like, it's it. Like, he came up with most of the events.
Yeah, he talked about it last year, right, how it needs to be revamped, and then he had a lot to say on how it got revamped, and then he had a lot to say on how, there could be a bonus associated with it. And
good on him, man.
Connor McDavid plans it, Connor McDavid wins it. It was, good for him.
The passing one I can do without. I thought that passing event, I didn't like that.
The skating while passing?
Take a pass on that.
You didn't like it. I think Kucherov didn't like it.
All right. Let's talk.
Come on, we got to do it.
Let's talk about.
And by the way, before we get into that,
Okay.
I did watch it as well, and like I've said, I do appreciate the skills competition a little more than the game.
Yes.
I just I've always watched it, especially with my kid. But I tell you, this particular game.
Dan, refresh your page. I'm sorry to interrupt. It says Dan's browser preventing recording.
Oh my
Ask
God!
Dan to refresh his page.
All right, I'll refresh the page.
Okay.
Pornhub censor.
Sorry, buddy. All right. So,
You
Bobby,
know
go
what?
ahead.
One thing I will say.
Yes.
Well, I'll save it for later.
I don't know if we can record you if you say it. But
I think that thing's lying. We'll find out.
We will find out.
So, what do you want to say?
I even though I didn't watch Chris, I did hear about Kucherov though. Like
All right. So, Okay. So, Bobby, what were you saying about Cooch? Go ahead.
There goes Dan.
Okay. So, again, just to finish up, too, even on the game itself, which is normally kind of set up, it's all offense, there's no defense. I was kind of surprised at the low-scoring nature of it. Now, they weren't trying 100% to score like crazy. They certainly weren't back-checking or anything like that. But the goalies, this was really like a goalie all-star game, and they felt like they were slighted. The skaters get $1 million for doing their 6 competitions, and then the goalies come in for their 1 or 2, and you can win $100,000. And then they kind of stole the All-Star game as far as I was.
They did all those poke checks. That was awesome.
Well, that was my favorite event. The one-on-one drill was my. But that was the first time I ever saw it like that, where they laid out 5 pucks inside the blue line for 1 point each, and then everything set up on the end of the neutral zone for 2 points.
I love that. It's more like what happens in like warm ups and stuff like that. It's more of almost like something you would do in real life.
And I thought the goalies, I thought Matt Barzal owning Shesterkin was awesome to watch. Like, I had no idea Matt Barzal had hands like that. Like, he was
he's
awesome
crazy
in that. And then Georgiev on McDavid, just the power of the poke check, dude. He didn't let him do anything.
That is the move, man. The guys who want to like dipsy doodle in front and stuff. And during the game, the goalie does not have that freedom. But when he knows it's coming like that, out comes the poke check. If he's,
I was
good
surprised
with
that
McDavid
didn't adjust. He kept coming in so tight every time, and it wasn't working after the
He's just not used to that poke check.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't get anything else going.
You just can't pull that off consistently in a game. It's a big risky thing. But on this, the goalie's like, fuck it. What am I going to do? Let him walk in? There's no defense, so I might as well go crazy and poke check.
Now, we'll just preface this with the Kucherov conversation in case anybody is living in a fishbowl and doesn't know what happened. So he was getting a lot of shit. So I think it started during the passing drill. He kind of, flubbed missed a few shots. He wasn't moving fast. He wasn't, just very laxadaisical.
He mailed it in completely.
Couldn't give a shit about
Couldn't give a
shit.
shit.
And then another event that he did was the stick handling, the puck handling event. And then he lost the puck, right? And it went. Then by that point,
thing. He was walking basically instead of skating hard.
And then he was just the place is booing him, and even the announcers and stuff were all going on about it was a you don't do that shit. It's an all-star game, everything. So what are your thoughts on Cooch and the skills comp, Bob?
All right, so. It's a tough one, right? Because part of me is like, listen, it's a skills competition. It doesn't mean much. And you're just supposed to watch it for whatever entertainment value you find in it. And some people find a lot of entertainment value in the way that he kind of handled that. But the other side of me says that was extremely douchey, quite frankly. You're an ambassador of the game. They're asking you to do something for 2 hours of your life. You make a shit ton of money. There's kids watching you, and it doesn't look good. So in that regards, I have to fall back on. I'm probably more pissed about it than not. I think it was just uncalled for. Then again, they're in a hard place because I guess you can't easily just kind of opt out of this. Like the league kind of almost makes you do it in a way, so they don't really have a say. And as a person,
he probably could have opted out.
I didn't like the optics of it.
He probably could have opted out of the skills competition because there were only 12 guys, and I don't even know who replaced Jack because I know he was supposed to do that. I was kind of hoping that maybe Bratt would be able to, be in there to do it, but I think it was Barzal that got put into that. So I'm guessing maybe he could have said, "I'll play the game, but I'm not doing the skills." Maybe I don't know.
But you don't show up like that.
Why would you not do the skills though? I don't understand this. And here's the thing: it's not like you can't have fun with it. You could be a goofy motherfucker. Right. If the dude would have wanted to try a fucking cartwheel in the middle of his skills, everyone would have laughed their ass off. And yes, you proved the skills is like a joke. But you have some fun with it. Don't go out there fuck this,
Your fucking thing.
I don't know what to tell you. I'll refresh for you. You let me know what happens.
So I'm going to take the opposite of all this.
Yep.
Go ahead.
What you got, Tony?
I'm going to take the opposite of all this. If these guys last year weren't shooting a puck at fucking surfboards, I guess I would take it more serious. And I think that Kucherov is an interesting dude. And living in Tampa, I've been around Kucherov a few times, going to all the team events there and stuff. Kucherov would have fit in the 90s perfect. He would have been the guy going to the bars after practices and shit. I just don't think he gives a fuck, and I really believe that. I think that
then he shouldn't go to the All-Star
He got
game.
a lot of slack. I think, but the thing is, if you don't go, I know, in baseball too. Sometimes if you don't go, you seem like more of a douche. Like, oh, you're too good for that shit. Oh, you won't do this. You won't do that. So, should he not been drunk? But does it surprise me? Because Kucherov has this.
Is that what they're saying? He was drunk?
I don't even care that he's drunk.
Yeah, I heard he.
Go ahead and drink, but the way he was acting,
he was drunk. I've actually heard that he was drinking. They think beforehand on some of the Tampa social medias and stuff like that. From back in.
If that would have gave him the inhibitions lessening so that he had a great time and did something goofy, I would love that. But he looked like he didn't want to be there.
Game, except for the fact that supposedly he was on how many sheets to the wind do they say? But I heard he was. And I don't know, man. I guess. In a way, I could see where, if you're like, oh, my kids are watching, I get that whole aspect, but kind of reminds me of, I put it like this, if I picked up a book in about 15, 20 years and read about Kucherov, and I read about when he went to the All-Star game drunk, kind of like when I read when David Wells was was it David Wells who was tripping on acid when they were pitching?
No, it was like Doc Ennis or something like that.
I think David Wells was on acid or some shit, or wasted when he was pitched.
Well, he didn't pitch a perfect game. You know, it was Doc Ellis, yeah.
I don't know why you keep saying this about your fucking recording, Dan.
But with him, I think if you read this in a book like 20 years ago, you'd be like, "Oh man, that's that guy was pretty."
I'll
wild.
just restart the computer, so it'll be like 5.
All right, if you want to. I disagree with that though, Tone. Just for the simple fact that, like, I mean, there is of course the who gives a shit about the All-Star game thing, but Bobby's right. You're an ambassador. You're there. And I don't buy for 1 second that he would have been like this if the game was in Tampa. If the game, this is the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. I think there was that little bit of, I'm not giving shit to the fans. I don't care about this. And, I just think it's just a bad look all around, whether or not he's a fantastic player and all that other stuff. But the All-Star game is not meant for petty bullshit. It's meant to, have a celebration of the world's best players. As silly as it sounds, I just don't think you go into it that way. The worst look was
those fucking jerseys, though. That was absolutely the worst. They were absolutely awful. I thought that was I couldn't believe. Actually, I thought it was a joke when I saw them on the, some of those jersey sites. I was like, man, you guys thought they were good looking jerseys at all? Any of you?
No, I didn't like any.
I didn't mind them. I really didn't mind them.
I've never loved the All-Star jersey. Yeah. It's one of the worst jerseys you can get as far as across teams. I never thought it made any team's jersey look good. And then the different versions we've had. I mean, probably the only one I actually look back on finally, the really old ones. When you have the Campbell, they were more of a solid colors. But bringing it back now would be weird. It'd be like a retro. Yeah,
it's like an elementary contest. Like, see who can design the best jersey. The student wins. I felt like I thought they were. I mean, those yellow ones were absolutely hideous.
I didn't even like most of the ones through the late 90s up. I can't remember the last time I liked an All-Star jersey.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
And I think I only like the older ones because of nostalgia. It's not even and it's not even my nostalgia. Like the most of the time I liked was when I didn't even like those jerseys.
Right.
But I look back on those as they look cool.
Now, I think that if the NHL is going to, they're of course going to continue doing the All-Star game, not next year, but I think this is the format you have to do. I thought the drafting of the players was very cool. I think I like that so much better than Metro against Atlantic or even East versus West, which I was saying they should go back to. No,
you know what they should go back to? Something they've like a pond thing. They're always trying to make a big joke about that. They take all the fucking sticks and they throw them in the middle. Mm-hmm. And they just randomly assign the teams on the spot.
That could be fun too.
Well, I thought the draft was cool. I mean, the draft was fun, having picking different players and stuff. You saw the Toronto contingency, the Vancouver contingency. I thought that was kind of cool. As far as All-Star games go, and the game was the game. What are you going to say about the game? It's 3-on-3. It was okay. I don't know. I don't really have too much to say about that. But as far as the skills competition, the draft, I liked it. So, I mean, that was me, though. And as far as Cooch goes, I just think he kind of made himself public enemy number one when it comes to, especially up in Toronto and stuff. I just don't think it's a good look. If he was drunk, then, that's kind of fucked up, too.
For me, listen, if it's 1 out of 12, it's not like every kid watching is going to be like, oh, my God, this is, how I get to be. But if it were if it were Jack Hughes,
well, that's what I was just going to
and my kid is going, his favorite player is Jack Hughes, and the other 11 players are working their ass off, and he sees his favorite player doing that shit, he's going to look at me like, Dad, what's that all about? He already looked at me like that. Like,
it's not the drunk part; it's the dog in it. That's what I get. Don't dog it. Just go there.
Out there that love Kucherov, and they're watching that going, I don't get it.
And even if Kucherov kind of makes a bit of a mockery of it, but in a fun way. Nobody cares.
That would have been fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, Jack Hughes put on a cape and let a mini him score or something.
Put a show on. You know what it's about, right? People want to tune in and see, it's the All-Stars. So, yes, it's not a real game. And yes, I don't give a shit. There's no sanctity. It's not a very important event.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But you can have fun with it. If you go there looking like you're fucking working your last hour at a really long Target shift, Like, fuck that. Nobody wants to pay to see that, dude.
Right.
You know, I get it. Like, if you hate your job, don't do that job, dude.
Now,
there's a lot of jobs you can be justified in hating.
I agree. Now, when I think it was Cal McCarr when he was really struggling at the target, the fucking thing keeps popping up. We're just going to roll with this, Dan.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sorry.
Hopefully you're in here.
We may have blank Dan.
Yeah,
it's possible.
We talk about Ghost.
I hope not. But you know, Cal McCarr kept missing the targets, right? And he was just like, you know, took him like 30 shots. And even with like Matt Barzell, when he couldn't hit those little nets, and they had to actually bring more pucks over.
It got so awkward.
But I'm like, how do you not at that point just skate 2 feet in front of the net as a joke, you know, and just pop the targets, and then, you know, you
pick up the pucks and drop them in there, and you skate off, and you wave to the crowd, and you have a good time.
Last place for me, I get it.
Yeah.
Cooch legitimately looked like he,
like a little baby.
Said, he was working, baby. Yeah. He was working his last hour at a fucking Walmart and didn't want to be there.
But it shows some weakness too. Like he's gonna. It's like, I'm blowing this. Like here's the thing. I think everybody knows that if he nailed the first one, he would have stayed sharp and done the second one, and then the third one. So he started off bad, and then it's like he had an unlikely streak of like 3 or 4 where he'd still didn't hit. At that point, it starts to get embarrassing. So like a little bitch, he just pretended, well, I was never trying. Right. Dude, you're so competitive your whole fucking life. Don't lie to us. If you know what I mean? If you would have hit the first one, you would have gone for the second one, right?
And
I mean, it's real.
When you look at like the obstacle course and how much some of these guys were really busting their ass. Like when Austin Matthews, right, had to friggin', you know, make up time, and as soon as he had took that shot from the blue line through the friggin' opening to get the better, like to me, like that's a dude giving a shit, wanting to win. There's $1 million on the line, bro. Yeah. That's a lot of fucking money for anybody.
That was the ballsiest thing in the skills competition.
Yeah, it was super ballsy, and he nailed it. I guess you don't do that unless you're Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
But, you know, and just Connor McDavid in that thing was just him and McCarr, I thought were just awesome to watch. I actually was surprised that Nate McKinnon didn't do better. I really had him, I was saying going into this.
It's a weird stage, man, and it's a different
I know. But it was, I really looking forward to next year, the four country team that they're going to do during the break. I think it's Finland, Sweden, United States, and Canada. But that should be awesome. You know what my favorite part of All-Star Weekend was?
What was that?
And I know this is like blasphemous, but so during the skills competition, I think it was Butchergross and Messier that were calling it. I did not find Messier nearly as irritating as I normally do with him calling that.
Right.
But one of my favorite parts was when they were talking about the 2026 Olympics and how Bettman came out making the announcement that the NHL was going to be sending its players to Italy for it. And then they got to the conversation of the Hughes brothers. And Messier said, I don't know if any of you guys caught this, but he's like, I'll tell you, by that time, 2026, all 3 of those Hughes brothers should be in there. I mean, what a get for Team Canada, right? Having those 3 Hughes brothers on there before he was, you know, kind of just, except they're American, Mark.
Yeah,
and I meant Team USA. I was like, that was my favorite part.
Oh,
Messier
that's great. I did
really wishing that all Hughes boys were Canadian. No.
Yeah, you know what I loved out of this? If you guys might have seen some of the video clips. So Swayman in the locker room, you all know how he does his big kind of stretched out hug with Allmark after the game, regardless of what happens, right? So he was doing that with all the other goalies as they're walking by, going down the ice. Right. And, like he did it with Shesterkin. I think Demko just like walked right past them. But it was just so cool to see. Like in that moment, I said, I want this guy. I want this goalie.
Do you think Linus Allmark was watching at home with like a picture of Swayman in front of him with a little tear coming down his face?
How could you?
You told me you'd love me forever.
I thought that was the only one.
Yeah, what's it going to take to get Swayman?
I have no idea how he sounds.
Watching him in this weekend, man. Oh, that guy's incredible.
Yeah. Two of the guys that we were pounding the table for Fitz to try and go and get were both in the All-Star game, and
good.
Yeah, and I love Jeremy Swayman, but I do think that if Boston is to move anybody, it's going to be Linus Ullmark. I don't, So, but
why would they move anybody though? Right now, they're not going to make a move, right? They're not going to let anybody.
I don't think so. I was
even hearing today they were saying how, if you're going to get a goalie right now, you're just going to get raped. It's going to be absolutely these teams are going to be looking. I forget who was it that said they're looking for. It was a first rounder, a player that could start right away, who's already established. It was a list and it's going to get worse and worse because now there's so many teams that really want a goalie. I mean, and there's like a couple goalies that we mentioned even their names on the show, but do you really want them, or you're just getting desperate and want them?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, look,
I think it's got to be the one you want.
As far as a goalie goes, like if Fitz is to make a deal for a goalie, whoever that may be, as far as draft picks, prospects, shit, like I can care less about that stuff. I give two shits about.
I think everyone
draft
sees Mercer
picks
going
and
back
prospects
though.
and everything else. And again, if it's something that is going to help this team, and it's moving a guy like Mercer, or moving a guy like Toffoli, or moving a guy like Holtz.
I've heard Toffoli a lot too.
The internet's up in, should we trade Toffoli? Should we trade Toffoli? Before we get into the predictions for next week and the news and everything else that we have, let's actually talk about the Toffoli thing, because it was all over Twitter all week.
Yeah.
It's so silly. It's like the only thing about the double season that's going well is Toffoli. So obviously this doesn't belong with the rest of the team. So let's talk about getting rid of him, or what do we do with him?
I think there's a little more to it. I think people are looking at it saying this guy doesn't have a contract after this year. He's a piece that a lot of teams contending for a cup might want. So it's really no skin off the Devils' back if they were to move him and gain some assets for him. Now,
I think it was Jack of Heart. It was one of the guys who wrote about how if you the going rate for players like Toffoli are getting like first round picks. So
I don't know,
his
man.
thing was, well, if you got that first round pick that you can then package to go really big for a goalie, it did make some sense.
I'm looking at Toffoli as like a insurance plan against what I'm afraid could possibly be a big Myers bust. Okay, like we're expecting Myers to wake up. It's now almost a full year with the team, and it's he's pretty far into his first year from the beginning. It has not materialized. Everybody knows that. So like Toffoli was a big reason, picking him up to fill in people like Meyer, especially. So, like, I don't know, man. Like,
see, I felt like Toffoli was brought in to be the bridge before Mercer and or Holtz are ready for a permanent. top
you might have been right originally, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, those guys,
I could see, moving Toffoli. Unfortunately, I do like him. If you're not going to do anything for the defense, then I don't see going to get a goalie, really. I really think without the defense getting fixed, picking up some goalie and giving away the farm for him is just a bad idea, because until you fix that defense, I don't think the goalie's going to stop maybe 25% more than they're stopping now. But, I mean, the defense is pretty rough right now. So unless you
fair point. A goalie with future, like a young goalie with a long time and term on the contract, that's a different story. It's probably worth more than fixing the defense now if you can get like Swayman for a long-term deal. But I don't think that's in the cards, to be quite honest.
There are certain guys that I have no issues with. Like if you have to move heaven and earth and give up some assets and whatever to get a Jacob Markstrom, you do it. You do it. It's that simple. He's one of the best goalies in the league, and regardless of our defense, you're going to have the guy for another 2 years.
Well, that's
plus.
The key.
So, you're going to be able to, free agency, build out your defense, do whatever you want next season. But if you can lock him up now, you do it. But to the Toffoli thing, not only do I think that it would be a huge mistake to trade Toffoli this year, I think it would be a huge mistake to not sign him to an extension as soon as possible. Tyler Toffoli brings, I've read it, he's slow, he's this, he's that. He's got 20 goals. He is, him and Palat, if you really want to take this team to the next level, you need those veterans that have been there and done that before. Toffoli, come playoff time, can be a chip that, is priceless for this team.
And unlike Palat, he hasn't had the health problems, know. So I totally agree with you about Palat. The only knock is like, when he's here,
stay healthy.
Right, exactly. But Toffoli's had a great year. And I get the idea. Like, so what? He's not going to be great forever. And what can you get for him? Look at the whole team. But you know what? With so many of our pieces that we thought going into the season were going to be pretty solid, not looking solid. Dawson Mercers and we know Brad, everybody. We know that we have a lot of question marks over things we thought were looking in much better shape. At this point, I don't see like not going after Toffoli as something that has been proven he can work with this team.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And here's something with Mercer now, right? Do you get him at what do you sign him for now? I mean, obviously this year you didn't think if you would have had the season we thought he was going to have this year,
Right.
I think it would be a whole different thing going into next year into talks. But now,
Very true.
what do you give him? I mean, there is a risk now. I mean,
So
yeah,
you're
the guy's a good hockey
kind
player.
of talking about. You would have thought going into this season he'd wind up with like a 7-year contract after.
Huge
Now maybe we're
contract.
talking bridge.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, now
Right.
you're like, okay, we know what you're capable
And
of.
that's what the,
I mean, you're not going to go
their
crazy
agents are
low.
for.
Somebody,
Because they're,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
he
Somebody's
didn't
going to
have the
go.
best year, and his agent knows that.
I also
Yeah.
think with a kid that's 3 years into the league, before you make any kind of decision on, and that's why Tom Fitzgerald and Mercer's agent haven't even talked, because I really think you don't make any kind of decision on him until after this season. I mean, we're all sitting here hoping that the Devils make the playoffs, and I think Dawson Mercer is, he showed up in the playoffs last year. Can he do it again? Is he going to be one of those guys? Is he a dude that has his solid 20, 25 goals a year, but then he kicks it up a notch come playoff time? He does kind of seem like he has that about him. But again, if the season ended now, Tone, no, I don't think you go big with him. I mean, you maybe offer him a 3-year deal, 4-year deal, maybe.
Right.
And
Playoffs are going to be huge for him.
Yeah.
Because if he has a big playoffs, that totally flips it, because then you look at, yes, it's a short period of time where he's had 2 good playoff outings,
right.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then
Maybe
maybe
last year we're
him.
thinking, how do you keep this guy with all these? Now you're thinking, okay, well,
And,
it's a whole different story.
I read a completely ridiculous stat the other day. Do you guys, off the top of your head, what do you think? How many games this season do you think we had our quote unquote entire lineup in? The team that we thought we were going to have, how many games?
I feel like it was less than 5. I feel like it was less than 5.
I'm going to say 9. I'm going to go with
I got
something
9,
less than 5.
I got 5.
Do I have to pick a number? I'll pick a number.
No, I say less than 5. We got 9, 5, less than 5.
Yeah.
One of you is right, and it's not less than 5, and it's not 9.
Wow.
Bobby, it's 5 games all year that we had our team together.
But none of us went over 10, did we? So that's a pretty good sign.
So we all
right
knew
there.
it was
That's
bad.
not looking good,
But so we all, I mean, it hasn't been announced, but I'm guessing we're all kind of figuring Jack Hughes will be in Tuesday night against the Avalanche, right?
I hope so.
This week.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going on with Tomas Nosek. Apparently he's ready or close to being ready.
Sure could use him.
So, yeah, I mean, I think adding a guy like Tomas Nosek can really help the forwards defensively. And I think, having Jack Hughes back, of course, then, I think Toffoli playing with Bratt and Hughes that's where Toffoli shines. And
even if he could, if Hughes could do what he does with puck possession, takes pressure off of everyone, forwards and defense. He don't have to come back and score. Just the way he changes the game puck possession wise. And I wish the team had its own formula for puck possession, because you really saw how without him, we're like a counter-punching team that doesn't counter-punch. But we were not a puck possession team.
Have you guys noticed a lot more of the talk too? I know we talked about it, I think 2 episodes ago, and you guys may have talked about it last episode, is the Adam Henrique thing. Everyone's kind of tossing back and forth. I love Adam. I mean, I get why some people are like, oh, don't bring back the past. But if there's someone I would bring back, it would probably, if you gave me a choice, do you want Andy Green back or I would take Henrique.
Price is right is right.
Yeah, Price is right. That's the deal.
If you brought in Adam Henrique, right, and we all know he's coming in to take the spot of he who will not be named on this show, so he'd be your 4th
Voldemort
line center? Exactly. Yeah. He'd be your 4th line center. So then what do you move? Do you move Holla to wing and put Nosek on a 3rd line center, or him in I'm just thinking out loud.
Don't worry, Chris. Somebody's going to be out.
Season
round.
Someone will get hurt.
What am I saying?
Yeah,
it'll probably be Henrique the day for him to make the trade. Right? But again, a 4th line center that's responsible defensively. You can't have too many of those guys. So
right. If the price is right, so that was really conditional. Because you're right. The season we're having, we need depth on top of depth.
Right.
Because we still have only had 5 games with our intended lineup, which is fucking crazy. I mean, it is
crazy
to be that many games in.
Well, look at so we're trying to stay on the positive side, right? Like,
absolutely,
these guys have all had a week to reflect. The captain has called this team out. Hughes should be back. What are you guys expecting here? Like, coming out this season, this week we'll just start with. what are you guys expecting with this team against 3 really good opponents this week? Like, is this going to be more of the same old, or is this team going to turn the corner?
I tell you, if you don't come out now swinging, if you don't come out after this All-Star break feeling refreshed, or at least telling yourself, hey, this is our second chance, because you know what, you're like 11 points out of the top spot. I get it, but there's other spots too. And I don't know. I think you have to, if they don't come out swinging this week, I think the season's kind of screwed, because
that is
you have to feel
so
a little
positive.
Yeah, but you have to be a little refreshed. Like, okay, this is their second half. This is like, we get, you're not out of it yet.
Exactly.
I mean, Jack Hughes is coming back. I mean, there's a lot of.
So you just come out and you don't worry about the negative and
try to
everything.
have fun, because that's the difference between the Devils last year and this year. It doesn't look fun out there. It looks kind of like frustrated.
Well,
like
they're going to have fun now.
Yeah, it's time to, have a good time.
Dan, you mentioned on the last show about the timing of everything that came out with the guys taking their indefinite leave, and it's happening right at the All-Star break.
Yeah,
I thought about that a lot after the show, and I thought there might be something to that, because
I would bet more likely than not.
Yeah, and
the authorities coordinated this, to some extent with others, or maybe like the whole nation thinking this is the best time. I'm not saying they like waited years to, or like something significant amount of time. I'm saying it's wrong, but I believe they did. It played a factor.
You got a lot of that you have to, like, I'm trying to think about like their psyche, these guys that have been out there every night doing the best they can for this team with all the injuries, where every time, you feel like you're taking a step forward, somebody gets knocked out, and it's somebody like Heischer or Hughes or Palat or Hamilton or Siegenthaler, or I can keep going. But, so that can weigh on you. Not to mention the fucking sword hanging over this team all season, that these guys knew something was going on with McClurg.
Yeah.
Now they don't have that baggage. They can kind of shake off a lot of this bad going into this second half of the season with Hughes back, with kind of a, like Tony said, a refreshed attitude, a refreshed everything. If they don't do it, I absolutely could not agree with you more. Like, if they don't come out this week looking like a different team,
fresh start,
then there's more problems than we even know. Bobby, what do you think?
So listen, I actually believe in the power of a reset. People make fun of like
unplug it for 10 seconds. Then
I've been doing that all night.
I mean, people make fun of New Year's resolutions, but for some people, that flipping of the calendar, it's just what they need to mentally get past different hurdles. For some guys, you might have a terrible year that happens all year, and then you come back the next year and you're fine.
That's right.
How many times
quit drinking every day?
Or you go to the gym and everyone's
How many
there
times
on the
have you
2nd of
seen,
January?
A team that gets dominated by another team in a regular season of whatever sport, and then the playoffs come and it's a reset, and it just goes the other way. So I really do believe that there's a lot of positive that they can look to right now. They had the break, everything you guys mentioned, who's coming back, a cancer that might be out of the clubhouse, that kind of thing, and sometimes you just need that pause. I'm expecting good things. I'm not saying this is going to be a week where they can just go out and dominate, because this is a tough week. But I think it's a week where they can go out and compete each and every night and show us what kind of team they want to be the rest of the year.
I'm curious how the statements made by Heischer after the game against Tampa before the break is going to play with this team. I'm curious how they took that. I'm curious if they, a lot of these guys did a little bit of soul searching this week. And, I really hope that, because I do think this team's got some fire in them. Absolutely. But, they got to start this week. And they, like you said, it's not easy. So why don't we do some predictions? Yes. Dan and I had 2 predictions that were left on the board because they were stuff that happened this week. They were both incorrect. Mine, I said that the Tampa Bay Lightning game would be the last game Lindy Ruff coaches for the New Jersey Devils. I was absolutely wrong with that. And I, as much as I would have no problem with him going, Tony had mentioned a while back, like, if they fire him, it's going to be a off-season thing. I agree with that. I don't think, unless they go on some amazing run from here on out, I don't really expect them back next year. But that's a different show. Dan said Jack Hughes will win an event in the skills competition.
Wait, hold on. I think I did win.
You did, huh?
Yes.
You want to explain?
He was Kucherov, Dan?
Well, no, like he did win. He won the competition, the most captain not to do a single goddamn thing at the All-Stars, and he won that hands down.
It's not a category.
Well, I think it is. I think if you look in the fine print, you'll see. And look, if it proves that it is a category, am I wrong that Jack wins that contest?
Sure, you proved to us that was a category. An event
Right.
at the All-Star game, we'll give you a hat trick for it.
So you're saying I'm right. Okay.
No.
Thank you very much.
We do have
I'll cash this hat trick in later.
3 big games this week. Tuesday, Thursday, both at home. That's against the Avalanche and the Flames.
Guys, if I call 3 shutouts in a period of time, do I just win this game instantly?
If you get one shutout, we're talking about giving you the whole fucking kabouter.
Really? At this point, all I gotta do is hit a shutout? All right, dude, that's it. I got it. Because they're going to get 1. Statistically, they have to.
Yeah,
Tony,
thanks.
you
The
just
opinions
gave
of
the
one
game.
Pucker
Pucker last year
could equal the opinions of the entire group.
Look, even if I die, I want to lock in my one bet all year, the rest of the year.
I heard out of that, Bobby,
Yeah.
was Tony saying if they get a shutout, he was going to give Dan his points. That's
That
what
makes
I
sense.
heard.
That
Is
makes
that what
sense.
you heard?
Right.
You
Yeah.
heard it completely
That's
wrong.
absolutely what I
Meaning-
heard.
Well, that would be
Apparently,
enough.
Tony.
weren't
Guys,
speaking
I hate to
for-
tell you this, but Tony's plus mine is definitely going to beat you guys every time.
Yeah, that's fine. That
right.
means Bobby will beat Tony.
Right. Which is proving to be difficult.
Just, at least we win.
Okay.
We don't lose.
No, you
And
can't
Tony
win.
wins all these.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think I'm in second. So me and Tony,
Yeah,
if
but
I get
Tony
his
would
points,
give you all his points, so he'd
Yes.
have 0. So me and Bobby be ahead of him.
We get to
So he
split
can't
all
win.
the points. Dan,
It's one
I see
contest,
what
one
you're
game he
saying.
can't win.
I got you.
But okay, so those are the 3 games. We have 3 predictions to make. Let's start with Bobby. Your first prediction on these 3 games.
First prediction, I need some points. I'm just going to say the Devils will win at least one of the home games this week. One of the 2.
Okay. Dan, what is your first prediction?
One of the crowds will be less than 16,000 people.
Oh, there's a point for him right there. Just hand it to him.
What are you talking about? That's pretty good. Most of these arenas hold 18.5 or more.
Is that really
Phoenix.
is that yours? One of the games will have an attendance less than 16,000?
Yeah.
Isn't that our capacity, 16,000?
Around there.
No, it's not. Is it?
Yeah, we got smaller when we went to Newark. We went from 18 to like 16 or something like that, I think.
All right, let me look that up.
Chris, what are the
If
three
we don't have a
games?
capacity of 16, I can't do this bet. I don't want
Can
to
you
do.
give us the 3 games where they're at again?
Sure, we're home against the Flames. Well, not in this order. I'm sorry. We're home against the Avalanche on Tuesday, home against the Flames on Thursday, on the road against Carolina on Saturday.
Okay, so McClurg's not going to be at home. I was going to say someone's going to toss some bras on the ice. I don't know if you guys saw that last
Yeah.
week. The girls were
No.
throwing bras on the ice to him.
But maybe that would happen here if you had some fans here.
Yeah,
You want to
you
go
never
with there
know.
will be a
No.
bra thrown on the ice? That'd be
No,
a
I'm
hat trick.
gonna go with Hughes will return and score a goal in his first
are
game
you-
back.
Okay, so you're not picking the game, but this week you're saying he'll
Yes,
come back
this week
and
he'll come
have
back
a
and
goal.
score a goal in that same
Whatever
game.
his first game is, he'll score a goal.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Just to back up for a second, the Devils, have can hold
Attendance
16.
counting here.
It's closer to 17, but I'll lower my thing to 15.5. One of the
Count
3
staff?
games. What?
Can we count staff members too? In the
If you go in there and count them, get their fucking names and addresses. Fucking-
One of the 2 games at home or one of the 3 games?
One of
Are you
the-
counting Carolina's fan base in your
That's a
prediction
good
here?
question.
What? Wait.
Because I don't know how they, where they get their fans from.
There's 3 games, right?
Yes, 2 at home, 1 in Carolina.
One of the games
One of the games.
will have an attendance less than 55.
Okay, so but it doesn't. It could be in Carolina.
It could be in Carolina.
It could be on the fucking moon.
That's all no, it can't be
They're
on
not
the moon.
playing there. They're
Well,
playing in New Jersey
anywhere they
and they're
play.
playing in Carolina. And if you had a fucking stadium on the moon, I would bet the occupancy would be much less
than
15,500.
Elon Musk.
How are you going to
Like
get
2.
15,000 people to the moon for a game? Parking is crazy here.
You know how much it costs to park on the moon?
Oh
Yeah,
my
Chris,
God,
what
it's
did it
gotta be
cost you
more than
last game you
$40
went? Was it $50
to park?
35,
40.
right?
40.
40? Okay, I think I paid 50.
And we actually parked. My son and I parked actually a couple blocks away because I wanted to get out of there quick. I didn't want to be stuck in traffic, and that was 40. And as I walked closer to the stadium, I'm passing ones for 30. I'm like, how am I the
Kicking the
idiot
balls,
that
isn't
paid
it?
more? And I'm walking a quarter of a mile longer.
Oh, yeah, I hate that.
Cold.
In Newark at night. It's fun.
Yeah. Everybody run! The doors are open.
But man, I paid 40. That's what I paid last time too. the last game I went to. That was even a few seasons ago.
I took my wife, Chris, to her first Devils game a couple of years ago up there. My daughter and my wife's from Europe, so she's like, I've told her about Newark and stuff. We get in the cab, and the cab driver starts talking to her. She's like, "Oh, do you like, how do you like living here?" And the cab driver's like, "Well, my first week doing this job, I got robbed and tossed in the woods." My wife was like,
"You said this story. I remember this.
I want to know where the woods are."
Yeah,
that's what I said. Where's the woods?
The Pine Barrens
my wife was she's like, "What the hell?" I told her, I was like, "Well, it's a little." I mean, I'll be honest. When we were there, we're at Reds. It looked kind of, everything was chill. There was a bunch of cops out there and stuff. But that was her first experience. That was the first story she heard when we got
to Jersey.
To Jersey, yeah.
All right, my first prediction will be that Jack Hughes will have 3 or more points against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Wow.
That's a hat trick, I think. I mean,
that's 3 or more points. Maybe 3 or more goals would be a hat trick, but
that would definitely be a hat trick. Mm-hmm. But are you guys willing to give me a hat trick on this one?
Do you want
3 or more?
Well, of course, Tony brought it up, so yes, 3 or more in one game.
I'm a giver.
I'll give him,
I think so.
Okay.
I'll give him 3 hat tricks.
Based on what my next one is, I think it makes sense.
So basically, Chris got a hat trick. Dan wins the whole game. Next one,
right?
Yeah,
shutout.
We're going big.
It's a stupid game we didn't really think about.
No,
just kind of put it out there.
Right. It's nobody cares about this game.
We are like the Nikita Kucherov of predictions.
We're the women's basketball league. I hate to say that, but I don't think people watch that either, do they?
I don't know.
No.
The WBL, yeah. What's the
women's basketball league?
Jesus Christ!
Like some prison league.
Something
now
in
I'm starting to
Lithuania.
hope that Dan's audio is cut.
I think in Lithuania there's a WBL.
Bobby, what is your second prediction, sir?
Jack will be a point-a-game player for however many games he plays this week. So, if he plays 2, he's going to have at least 2 points. If he plays all 3, he'll have at least 3 points.
Bobby's going so conservative.
Wait. If
I got a good one coming up.
But if he plays none, does Bobby get a point?
No. If he does not play and he gets, or if he gets 0,
this is what Dan would try to do. So I'm kind of
no.
What do you mean?
Covering all the edges here.
What do you mean?
I don't cover. I take crazy bets. I take a mix of bets, mostly crazy bets. I don't go for easy ones.
Dan, what's your second?
Shut out. See, this is how you know I could give a shit about doing crazy bets. Like at this point,
yeah, right.
I'm just married to this one. Every week, you guys get 3 bets. I get 2.
Yeah, really. Tony, what's your second?
Devils will win 2 out of 3.
Wow, that's so weak.
But wait, I got a question. So if I go with, Colorado's no joke. If I go, Devils will win 2 out of 3 and lose one they will lose will be in overtime. Is that a hat trick?
No, it has to be by shootout. Then.
Yeah, well, it's
just keep the original.
It's 3 distinct things have to happen.
Give
Tony the hat trick. I would definitely give you.
So you want them to go 2 out of 3, and the loss will be in overtime?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a hat.
That's definitely a hat.
All right, I just want to let you guys know if they did get a shutout and I don't automatically win this game, if you give me 1 point, I'm gonna like go nuts.
That's your dick.
What?
You will get.
What did you say? Not you. I heard what you said, Tony. Damn, what did you say?
Why would Tony say that?
He'd be happy.
I know he was responding to something you said, but I didn't hear what you said.
I don't know. All right.
Dan's looking for points. Dan's looking for free points.
I'm just thinking like every week I throw away the shutout bet.
Yeah, you do.
So let's say I actually hit it. Imagine I only get 1 point. It's like the biggest, like the most deflating 1 point.
There
you
was
get,
really
one
is.
fucking point. A season of losing. That's what I'm saying. I have to get at least 3 hat tricks.
I'm willing to say that at this point in the season and in this game, a shutout is a hat trick right now.
But just a hat trick? I think it's at this point. I mean,
it's like we can
it's
only
like
give
3 hat tricks. Well, it's a triple hat trick. It's a 9 points.
Think of how many points you've lost by picking this bet every week.
That's what I'm saying,
he wants
guys.
them all back.
Not all of them.
I say hat trick. 3 points only. Cut off on that.
See, Tony's like, I'm very giving with the points. Tony's
for you.
very. No,
I was giving with the hat trick. He gave me a hat trick.
I always give a hat trick. Bob, you could have a hat trick for one of those. Yeah.
So I'll take a hat trick.
Yeah. No. Bobby's got the most conservative bets this week. I'll give him a hat trick for one of them. This week especially.
No, I got a good one coming up.
Okay.
All right. So my second prediction.
Yes.
Jacob Markstrom will allow 1 goal or less against us. I'm saying, yes, we're going to lose a game against Calgary, and we're probably going to get shut out.
I think Jacob that's when Dan's going to get his shutout.
Is going to
I disagree.
be on an audition for Tom Fitzgerald on Thursday night.
like where you're going with
That's
that.
my logic, just because I want him as a goalie. All right, Bobby, your third and final prediction.
Third and final prediction is a hat trick, and it is that the Devils will score a power play goal on a power play where they give up a shorthanded goal.
They'll score a power play goal on the same power play that they were scored on shorthanded.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. That's definitely a hat trick. Power play
Probably
goal on the same.
That's a 9 or 10 pointer there, Dan. That's how you roll.
No way.
Power play.
I'll give you 40 points for that one.
Shorthanded goal.
Bobby's
All
so
right.
shiny tonight.
Dan, your third and final prediction, sir.
I predict the Devils will not lose a game by more than 1 goal.
Okay.
You're not getting that point.
Bobby's feeling negative on the
Now, if they
second half.
win all
I'm
three,
sorry,
that's a
all
loss, right?
Nope. They will not lose a game by more than 1 goal. So
Right.
if
No. I'm saying if they win all three games.
that's still a win. Think about it. They did not lose a game by more
So
than 1
you
goal.
have to rephrase it. So if
No,
the
you have
Devils
to
lose a
understand-
game,
yes.
if the Devils lose a game,
Yes.
it will be by 1 goal or less. Or it can't be less. It'll be
what I'm
by
saying.
1 goal. But
Yes,
the way I
that's
word
the
it,
same
it
exact
makes more
thing.
sense.
That's
No,
the
it's
same
not.
exact thing.
No, it's
Yes, it is.
not. No, it's not.
The Devils
Same
will not
Devils-
lose a game. It's the same thing.
Could you
It's the
imagine
same
being a court reporter on a Dan case?
It'd be arguing with the.
Guys, I want to tell you a little story. So I got selected for jury duty. Okay, I hope we have time for this, guy. I got selected for jury duty, and they get everybody together and they start talking about the case, just little things, and then they start saying we're going to ask you some questions. We want to see if you're right for the jury. So the way it works is each lawyer gets to ask a question, and everybody gets basically the same questions, and most people get through I think it was like 5 questions, and they just move on to the next person. Well, the first question I never got past. So the question is do you consider yourself biased? And that was the question, and it's like really vague like that, and everybody's like, and every single person. So I was like the 10th one to go, and every single person says, everybody says no, and like only a real maniac would be like yes, or somebody who obviously wants to get out of jury duty, right? And I said, there's no way of me being able to answer this question. And so, they'll stop what they're doing, like a record stop. The judge turns around and he goes, could you please answer the question? I said, Judge, it's impossible to answer this question. And he's like, what are you talking about? You have to answer the question. I said, Your Honor, how would I know if I was biased? Think about it. Okay, so there was a second. He looked at me like I was a fucking, from another planet. He called both the lawyers over to him. The 3 of them talked about probably how big of an asshole I was. And they both said, you're dismissed. You're dismissed. Go sit over there. And I had to watch the whole proceeding for the next 25 minutes. And then I was done with. Now, I was not trying to game the system. I honestly believe if you were fucking biased, it means you're off to one side or the other.
Right.
You wouldn't know necessarily. I literally mean I can't answer that question.
That's great.
That's, so they were like, imagine having this asshole on your jury. There's no fucking way. So that's a good way to get out of jury duty, everybody.
There we go.
Hey, Tony, your third and final prediction, sir. I like that story.
Okay, it's kind of got a 2-parter. Devils will not get a shutout this week, and also they will not give up less than 2 goals in any of the games.
Wow.
They'll at least give up 2 goals in every game, I should say.
Oh, they'll give up 2 or more?
At least 2
Okay,
goals a game.
I want you to
3.
listen very carefully.
Here we
They're
go.
going to give up. No, I'm just asking. Are they? Does it matter about wins and losses in your bet?
No, they're just
Okay.
going to knock. They're not going to get a shutout, and each goalie will give up at least 2 goals each game.
Both the goalies in each game.
No, each Devils goal. Whoever starts for the
Each
Devils,
Devil
will give
goalie.
Up, each
Okay.
Devil goalie,
Right.
Okay.
will give up at least 2 goals.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. I think we're good. My third and final prediction is that the Devils will beat the Colorado Avalanche in overtime. And
He's swinging for the fences. And
the game winner will be scored by Timo Meyer.
All right.
Is that a hat trick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to get Timo going, I would say so.
Dude, you get so specific with those. That's a double hat.
That's why I
You
haven't
can say
had points
Timo
in
would score this
5
week, you might
weeks,
get a hat trick.
Wait,
Yeah, right.
backhand or forehand? And I'll give you a triple hat trick. Oh, come on, you went this far.
Slap shot, wrist shot.
You guys want to play a game?
Oh, yeah, let's play a game.
Wait, I got to do this fucking DraftKings thing.
Huh? No.
Hold on, the game. It's a teaser.
All right.
Shall we play a game?
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil Podcast.
Does that sound extra bassy to anybody this week?
My farts always have a lot of bass.
It's the same.
I was talking about the whole thing, but okay.
It smelled awkward, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's time
If you
for
want to
the
stop
Devil-
and check yourself, we'll wait.
No, I'm good, man. It's time to play the Devil You Know, where tonight it will be Bobby. He will give us clues on a former New Jersey Devil player, and Tony, Dan, and myself have to guess who it is. We get to yell out answers. We get 3 incorrect before we are eliminated. We can ask Bobby any question we want, and he can or cannot answer. It's completely up to him. So far for season 1, Tony kicked all our asses, and so far in season 2, Tony is in the lead with 4.
He's
Bobby
guzzling water. He's guzzling water right now. He's ready.
Yeah,
Water
Bobby's
pen.
got 3. I have 2. And Dan doesn't have any yet. Former Devil You Knows are Paul Martin, Mike Dunham, Kevin Dean, Jason Arnott, Bryce Salvador. And tonight, Bobby will give us his clues whenever you're ready to start, sir.
All right, let's go. This former Devils center was a first-round draft pick with 10 goals and our leading face-off man in the 2023-24 season.
Michael McClurg. You seriously doing Michael?
No, this is a joke.
I hate to say this. I thought of this today, actually, and I was like, no. It's funny, Bobby,
Bobby,
because I
that's
swear
beautiful.
to God, I was
Beautiful.
like,
That was a beautiful thing, Bob.
I'll tell you what. A couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago, I
Satan
wanted to do this for Timo Meyer, and by the time my Devil You Know came up, he had scored like 3 goals in a row or something, and I couldn't do it. And then tonight I saw it. I'm like,
this
oh,
has
yeah.
got a different little
I
edge
hope
to
it's
it.
not too soon.
No.
Okay. You guys want the real
you're
one?
good. All right.
All right.
It's just a way of saying he will never be a devil
That's
ever,
correct.
ever again.
If the really one is Calfoot, I'm going to be pissed.
not.
I can't guess anything about Calfoot.
Okay, here we go.
His
This
bad boy for the
former
abs.
Devil had 473 total games played, spanning 9 seasons.
9 times.
9.
9 times?
9 times.
Before he became an NHL player, he had
Got
one
that fucking
stint.
movie in my head now.
I love it.
One stint in the
Ed,
AHL.
you sounded like Dirty Harry just there. I don't trust that boy as far as I can throw him. Well, you shouldn't throw anyone with a bad knee, Ed. Best. I'm sorry, what was the second clue?
I hope she's still alive. Is she still alive? I hope she's
Edie
alive.
McClurg.
Is she still alive?
You know what? Hang on.
Let me
We gotta
know.
find
I
out
gotta
if
know.
Edie McClurg
Carl
is
Weathers,
still
too,
alive.
huh, by the way.
Dude, how
I mean,
bummed is
Ed-
that?
Flubber.
Oh yeah, he's dead.
Flubber at the
TV
Apollo.
played with, right?
Dude, I know.
Fucking
No,
blasphemous.
listen.
Mr.
Yeah,
T's
seriously.
not dead.
I was just gonna tell the story.
Blu-ray set,
Dude,
too.
this totally happened in my real life. Somebody goes, "Hey, did you hear Carl Weathers is dead?" And I said, "Oh no." And they go, "Yeah, it's really sad. Like Lando's dead." I'm like, "Lando? The fuck are you talking about? Do you mean Billy D. Williams?" And I'm like, "Oh, I found a racist in my life. I didn't even know about." This is a fun game to play.
I know what football team he played with, right?
Like, did he mean Mando and meaning Mandalorian because he's on
That's what I said. I was like, dude, well, technically it wasn't Star, but they literally said Lando.
Guys, I have amazing news. Edie McClurg is 78 years old.
God
She's alive
bless
and
her.
well.
God bless her.
Right there.
God bless her. She lived out Ed, his bad knee, and his weird child molesting ways
Now,
or whatever.
Chris,
the fuck
I
he
have a
did.
question for you.
He was crippy. I don't know what he did. Child, I don't know.
I don't know, but to just go after that poor kid like that and just, I'm talking
Yeah.
about his sister.
Right.
What he did to her. Yeah, what were you saying, Tone?
You know what football team he played with, right? Weathers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the principal from Ferris
I
Bueller's
didn't even
No,
think he
no,
played
no.
football. I thought he was on the chess team.
Actually, he's in jail now, actually. Actually, the principal from Ferris Bueller's in jail now, yeah.
Is he really in jail?
Yeah, he's a sex offender.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, he's
I thought you were talking about the movie.
No,
but Weathers played with the Raiders for 2 years.
Offender?
Yeah, and then you started being like, he's so hard on that boy. I'm like, this is really distasteful. You said that, and I knew you didn't understand what I was saying.
Oh, God, I did not know what I was saying.
Yes.
I had no idea that I was...
Tony didn't listen either, but he's saying the same thing as me.
But Carl Weathers played with the Raiders for 2 seasons.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, I know.
Carl Weathers played for the Raiders for 2 seasons?
For 2 years, 70-71.
Carl Weathers is awesome.
They say he would have lived longer if he hadn't played for the Raiders. Any other team.
Played a hell of a Mr. T.
He was awesome in Rocky 3.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the unreleased Edie McClurg Carl Weathers movie to come out.
Colt 45.
That's Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, dude.
I know.
Seriously, this was a whole episode.
You got him at.
I don't understand. Like some of these guys you're saying don't even look alike at all. They're not even close.
Right.
It's true. Second clue, Bob.
Right. We're playing a game.
473 total games over 9 times.
Over 9 seasons. Correct.
9 times.
9 times.
And we're back. He had one AHL season before that.
I do have a test today. That wasn't bullshit. It's on European socialism.
All right, I'm just going to give you my answer.
I'm not European. I don't plan on becoming European. So who gives a shit if they're socialists? They could be fascist anarchists for all I care. It still doesn't change the fact that I don't own a car.
Dude, you have so much of that committed to memory.
That's great.
All right, the second clue?
Yeah. Okay. In his one AHL season, he scored 45 points in just 62 games.
Wow.
And that was 9 goals of the 45 points.
Okay, so he's a defenseman.
He stands at 5'10", 185 pounds, and he's a right-handed shot.
Is he a defenseman?
He is a defenseman.
Okay.
He was part of the 2009 NHL draft, a 4th-round pick. He debuted in the lockout-shortened season of 2012-2013.
We said 473 on games?
That's correct.
Still? Yeah, that's...
And he retired after the 2021 season.
Eric Jonas? No.
Who was the last team he played for?
I'm not going to get to that yet.
Who was he drafted by, Chris? I mean, Bobby.
You asked the wrong person, so I'm not going to get to that yet.
I think he was drafted by
Bob
the
never
Devils.
answers the question.
I think he was drafted by the Devils.
Bob, what's his...
This person was not drafted by the Devils. I'll give you that.
Okay, so it's not who I thought it was.
Okay. In his career...
Bob, what state did you say he was from?
I did not say what state he's from.
What state is he from?
He's not from the state.
And he's... Okay. Is the player Canadian?
No.
Is he from Europe?
One question at a time, please.
They are
I have a
one
guess.
at a time.
No.
I have a guess.
Go, Bob.
Is it Sammy Vatanen?
You motherfucker.
Number
Yes,
45.
Sammy Vatanen.
Number
Nice.
45,
There you
Sammy
go.
Vatanen. My daughter's going to be very upset with me because
Yeah,
that's
you
her
didn't-
favorite player.
No.
I put so many more clues together. This is
Okay,
not
read
fair.
them all.
Sammy.
I don't want to read them all, but 47.
You mean you're not going to
goals,
finish?
103
You wouldn't tell me
assists.
what country he was from. You
He
son
is
of a bitch.
Finnish.
Yes,
Very
he is.
nice. Played for 4 total teams: Devils, Stars, Canes, Ducks. Drafted by the Ducks. He
Quack.
was, traded to New Jersey from the Ducks 2019-20. I wasn't going to tell you who it was for at the time. He returned to New Jersey for a short stint in January 2021 and was claimed off waivers by the Stars in April of that year and then retired.
All those
And
clues
of
were
course,
boring. I'm glad we didn't get
He
them.
was traded. The trade involved Adam Henrique and go
There you
fuck
go.
yourself.
That's
Dan.
good. No, I think he won
Chris.
like a world
Yes.
championship like
What guy-
last year, the year before. So
What
congrats.
made you get that so quick?
That he retired in 2021.
That's a good
A
one.
lot
I
of
was
people
thinking
retired.
of but I was thinking of defensemen. You said it's small, and
Wasn't
he
too
was
big,
European,
yeah,
and
5'8".
so
That was it. Getting to the country, getting to the country was important. That was definitely important.
So-
I claim credit on that one. I nailed down the country.
Chris
you
got
did.
2 wins today because he also got Michael McLeod.
That's
Yes.
true. I should
Let's
get
give
extra points.
I'll
for
give
that.
you a hat trick for that one.
All right, so you guys, Tony, you have any news or not this week?
Not this week, but I'll have some.
Tony, come up with one fucking story.
You got nothing?
I gave you the weather.
Didn't you read?
Should I do more?
No, I guarantee you. Yes, until Tony comes up with a story, we're going to hear the whole fucking movie out of your mouth right now.
You make me get dressed. You make me come over here. You make me make a phony phone call to Edward Rooney. The man could crush my balls into oblivion, and then you deliberately hurt my feelings by not having a story.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
He's looking at the phone. He's like, Yahoo News.
Trying to do a
Florida man.
Seriously,
Florida man.
Florida man has some. We were going to play that Florida man game where there was a Florida man game for every day. Remember?
I got to tell you, the stories are good. Buddy Derek, he wrote the other day. He's been listening to a couple of shows.
Nice.
He was mentioning the last show. He's like, you couldn't have ended in a better way than talking about the heads rolling. He's like, that was just so perfectly pucker. It was great. So for anyone who missed that episode, you'll want to listen to it.
I kind of missed it. I don't really fully remember that.
I've had shows like that, Dan.
It's most of them.
I've had shows where I thought I shouldn't have eaten that extra one.
Heads rolling sounds vaguely familiar.
It was
that should kind of stand out.
Jersey guy that was cut his mom's head off and was rolling it down. And
talking about how the nose would interfere with the way that it would roll.
There's so many physics-related questions. Yeah,
and they don't bounce at all.
Yeah, earlobes will kind of stop that, probably. I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I would just think that you'd probably, if you threw it down hard enough, you'd probably.
If you throw it hard directly on the ear, it's not going to bounce. It's going to like suction on to the floor, and that's the problem. Yeah, you have to avoid hitting directly in the center of the ear.
So I'll end this way. I always end. So when I first moved here, right? Like for the first year we were here. So the first year we were here, it was like there was really bad winter, and they had which is every year, but they had this on our roads. We had no U-turn. There was a certain area you had to make U-turns. So me and my wife and my daughter are driving home one night, and some lady gets hit by a car, probably about 10 seconds before we got there. And the woman's, it was the most fucked up. The head is squished like a pumpkin, man.
Oh God!
Yes, it was absolutely. It was absolutely like I've never forgot.
Like I always do. And then you told that story.
I always bring doom and gloom, man. That's what we
didn't do any news.
Where else?
Tony, where else in your life?
I've never seen anything like this.
Wait, hold on. Wait, stop, Tony. I need to know. That the most important part is how you started.
Yes.
And this is how I always end this. So where else? I want to know. Wait, hold on. No. It's great. I just made it sound like you tell this story at other things in your life. Where else have you told this story?
Never. Not even on the camera. Well, I tell it to my family, but yeah, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. The picture. Have you guys ever seen someone dead in the road or anything?
No. Well, yes, I have actually. It was it's a terrible story. It happened right on my old house, on the street of my old house, and it was actually on my birthday. I went. My kids got. Thanks. My kids were like,
you got what I said.
Comfort edible, everybody listening. We're going to take you down a road.
I went. They wanted to have a cake, so I wasn't. I was working or whatever. So I went to the store. So I was running the store, got the cake, coming back, and there were all police sirens and cops and ambulances and everything. And I drove past a guy had gotten hit walking his dog
in a clown suit.
Yeah, and it just police kept honking the nose. It was very.
Did the dog make it?
No, nobody.
Oh God!
The dog didn't make
it. At least the dog didn't make it. So thank you, Chris.
Yeah, that was sad. Yeah, that's sad.
How about you, Bobby? Nothing.
Yeah, any terrible stories you want to share, Bob?
I once hit this guy, and it was awful. It was so disturbing.
His head squished like a pumpkin.
And I really should have stopped, I guess, but I don't know.
Actually, about a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago at work, a girl was walking across a lady
Guys,
walking across the
let's
street.
keep the show positive this week.
That's true. Yeah, that was bad too.
Story.
We'll talk about that. All right. So
we literally came to the worst stories we know.
Oh my God,
I don't know what we're doing this week.
Hey, I didn't tell you guys the New Year's Eve story. I'll save that one.
Yeah, save that. We'll talk about something else. Actually,
Tears of unfathomable sadness with Tony Anderson.
Infinite sorrow.
If you like this, tune into the Tampa Morgue. You're gonna love it. very depressing.
Oh God.
New Jersey's out Monday though. It's kind of ironic though that the jerseys are coming out during all this news. We have all this stuff coming out Monday with the Team Canada, and the jerseys are coming out the same day. I have to say, I totally don't really want to talk about the Canada thing anymore, but this has been, it's like such a dark, dark, man. It's such a downer, man. It's just like, even the feel of hockey the last week has been kind of like, it just feels like just dirty in a weird way. No matter what, like, I know innocent proven guilty. I totally believe that, but it just feels, I don't know about you guys, but it does feel kind of disgusting. And just in general, the whole thing, like,
it's fucking awful.
It does suck. And you know what? We have, everyone has kind of talked about this. And I, Tone, if you want anything that you want to say on it, please go ahead. But I think, we're going to wait until Monday. Said that like you said, right? The police are coming out. They're going to have their press conference. They're going to go over the charges. They're going to go over what happens next in the legal system and where this thing is going to go. Like Tony had mentioned, Carter Hart already has been cut from, the Flyers. So, I'm sure that's just going to start happening.
What I'm noticing, like Devil fans, like I think everybody's like adjusting to this idea that it's both okay to talk about this issue at times and then not talk about this issue. And, because that's kind of tough, right? It kind of feels like one or the other is like almost mutually exclusive. Like you're going to either enjoy your season or you're going to pay attention. I don't think so. I think you can pay attention to the story at the right amount at the right time and keep a balance and still try to say, like, wait a second, everything you liked about the sport is not responsible for that. So you can still keep an eye on that. It's almost like two separate stories. And when it's all over, we can look at like the larger message of like, maybe there's a step along the evolution of sports and everything else, but there's no context for that yet. Let it play out. And then you can, we'll talk about
said something earlier that I wanted to touch on that I heard. And I, like I said, I'm with you guys. It's been kind of even for myself, like even thinking about the Devils right now, it's been kind of like, man, just like I said, it's like a black mark, I feel like. And, I do think though that we have to remember also is it sounds crazy, but these guys, Mike, McClurg, Hughes and all them, they were all friends. So you got to figure it's got to be hard on these guys too in the locker room, because imagine like, we could say what we want, but when you have your best friend and you find this shit out, because most likely you would hope to God that they didn't know this shit.
Yeah, of course they knew.
But like, it's gotta hit. If it hits us at home, it's gotta hit them even harder at home. So I'm hoping that's not going to linger a little bit on the team.
But that also depends. This is going to show the mettle of this team. It's going to show what kind of leadership is on this team. This team has been through a lot this season. For a young team, they have really been through the fucking ringer. And if they can punch back now and start getting, playing better hockey, becoming a better team because of this, it's going to say a lot about the Heischers and the Ruffs and the Palots and the Hollas and these veterans, Toffoli's that are on this team. Can they keep them together through all this bullshit?
You're right, because they have to, because they are a young team, and young, when you're young, you guys are your boys, and I mean, I think it is kind of a. And I know that they were, especially with Bastion and them, they were really tight, those guys.
Yeah.
So
not to open a door, so like you guys can think about this and answer me next time, but do you think that maybe it's in the back psychologically of a player's mind and some of the Devils? Would it be yourself? Hey, you know what? If we had a great season this year, there'd be like extra attention even late in the playoffs because of this issue, and we would be hounded by reporters to some extent every day, and we can't really shake this shadow this season. Do you think that in the back of their mind somewhere, maybe in the back of your mind, would you maybe say that's a likely thought and at least something going on with the psychology of the season? I don't know.
I mean, I'm wondering too, was there anybody in that locker room that now is like, finally, we have that fucking albatross out of here. We have that, lingering.
No doubt. I think you're going to see that on the ice. I really do.
That may be the veterans that you bought in. That may be those guys who actually have been around.
Who might be like, okay, now like we can actually start focusing on hockey now.
That's more the media term, though. Imagine yourself like getting later on in the season.
And maybe, I mean,
that story's not going away, right?
No. So. And, I mean, there's only so much I'm sure the players are going to be told, you don't say anything, don't remark, no comment. Sure. But, they're going to be asked about it all the time.
You have to kind of compartmentalize and really do your job at that point. And I think people realize it's an effect on the team, not that that's the story here. It's a reality.
And it does affect the team, and he was a big part of the team. It wasn't like this was some dude that like Cal. If this was just Cal Foote, we would not be talking about this. It's dude that played 2 games for us, and he did this shit. Fuck him, this is McLeod. He was one of our better players. He was a leader. The guys loved him. He had a lot of friends on this team. How's this team going to react? Legitimate fucking question.
I know, and I'm thinking, like, you know what? There's a curve on it you don't expect. Like, when you get, like, if they start playing well enough to get in the playoffs and do well, they will have done that with a bunch of people who are not McLeod. And so, in a way, he is more in the rearview mirror than he feels like right now.
Absolutely. So, Absolutely. We'll talk about what the London, Ontario police say on Tuesday, and then hopefully we can kind of put that part away and focus on just this team. But, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. We're going to wrap it up. So anywhere that you're checking us out, if you actually made it the hour and 8 minutes, God bless you.
Dear God.
And hopefully Dan's recorded on this and we don't have giant gaps of blank space. Well, I should be, even if you aren't.
I thought it was a shit show before.
If he's not on it, I don't know if this
you're all going to look so fucking crazy without my audio. Because I should be the crazy one, but you're going to be by default craziest if I'm not.
Exactly. If you're not on this, I don't know if it makes it to recording. So
I'll do a new devil but I'm going to redo the McLeod bit.
Yeah,
you should, dude. We should start the show every show with it because I'll fall for it every time because I don't remember the shows.
And he barely listens to the questions. So
what?
Yes, so wherever you're checking us out, a like, a subscription, a download apparently goes a long way. The Uncle Puckers can use some new microphones, guys. So. Go on DraftKings, THPN, and use that as promo code and everything else that I'm supposed to say earlier about that. Thank you so much for checking us out. For Tony, Dan, Bobby, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers. We'll see you when we see you guys.
Bye-bye. I said bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I think we gotta do
better sound check. I'm sorry. I think my mic was all fucked up.
So what is it saying that he didn't record?
It's